So it also sends maybe a message to the general population that maybe inflation is easing a little bit, which I do think it is. Okay, so interest rates. So the Fed bumped our interest rates up by 50 basis points today, so 0.5%. Apparently, the narrative was they were going up 0.75%, so 75 basis points. The reason why I think that they didn't go the full 75 is because of the holy shit factor in the market, which is why people have been shitting bricks because of the interest rate hikes, and because this will not be the last one. So I think what they thought was, hey, we're not going to hit people again super hard, and 50 basis points looks way better than 75 because you're getting so close to another full percent again, which is what they did. Did they do a full percent last time, or was it the time before last?
Time before.
Okay, so they did 75 last, right?
Yeah.
So it also sends maybe a message to the general population that maybe inflation is easing a little bit, which I do think it is. I think that they're also still worried about. I think that they are worried about the housing market. I think what people are really what the Feds are really worried about too is what's going to happen when it comes time to remortgage. In the States, there's a lot of instruments that can be tied to your mortgage to not allow for doom and gloom to happen when you have to remortgage. In Canada, we're not as creative over here. So I think the Feds are kind of maybe getting a little bit skittish about what's going to be happening there. So maybe they're not going to be moving as fast, the rates. But at the end of the day, I still do think that they will be increasing again a few more times at least. I think what they're going to do is you're going to start seeing smaller decreases over time because we don't need the heavy decrease or the heavy increases anymore. I think what this is accomplishing is, it's stalling out inflation. And I think that inflation on things that matter, right? Milk and bread and shit like that doesn't matter that much anymore. It's not like an accurate representation of real life inflation on products. But, how the housing market was definitely a main concern. And this is obviously taking its toll on the housing market for obvious reasons. So what do I think is going to happen with interest rates? I don't think this 50 basis points is going to really do all that much, to be quite honest. I think it's not enough to really move the pendulum. If you take 50 basis points in the current interest rate now, it's only really increased by 10%. So, maybe even less a little bit, 7 to 8%, something like that. So it's not enough where, rates were, 1.5%, and then they went to 3%. Well, that's increasing the rate by 50. So the rate shock isn't happening as much anymore in the market. And I think that these smaller increases are strategic on the Feds, from the Fed's perspective, to stop everybody's fear, right? Or level of fear for housing. So I think it's going to start easing people's minds a little bit. And right now, I'm telling you, because of that reason, might be a very interesting to take another look at the housing market, because like I've been saying the whole time, when you start seeing a little bit of easing with respect to how fearful people are in the economy, when that kind of starts going away, that's when you really got to start taking a look at what's going to be happening with respect to housing, because that as soon as that point in time when people, how can I explain this? That point in time when people start to come to terms with what's happening, which might start happening now, especially when don't think for 1 second when the Fed puts out like, hey, we're or the news or whatever puts out, the narrative of expect a 75 basis points rate hike, and then they go in at 50. That's on purpose for sure. So what is that going to do? What's that do for people? It's actually not as bad as we thought. So that when you start kind of having that type of thought process go through your head, it starts easing things a little bit. Right now is a very interesting time in the market. You might start seeing things not go down anymore. You might start seeing things stabilize for the next little bit and then potentially start creeping up again. So right now might be a really interesting time to keep an eye out and, arguably buy.